Hey guys, this is Lala Legacy, and welcome back to another episode of Cinderella Phenomenon. So, we are so close to Rod's ending, so let's get back in. Rod gently places a Melanie on the throne. He leans down to look more closely at her sleeping face, then reaches down to take the object in her hand before he faces me. I can see the metallic glimmer in his hand, and know that he is holding the knife Melanie brought with her. Where did she even get this knife? He pauses to stare at it, then suddenly turns, eyes widening at some sight in another part of the room. I follow his gaze to the corner of the room where Viorica floats in midair. Her eyes are closed and her hands clasped, as if she is just sleeping. Viorica? But how? Whoops, I just gave her Orion's voice on accident. Ah! Such a pleasant surprise, isn't it? Sir Mithros walks into the room with his hands clasped behind his back. You! Good evening, your highness. Is this your doing? Sir Mithros just smiles at him pleasantly. Rod only glares back at him. Guards! Sir Mithros clicks his tongue and chuckles. My apologies, your highness, but no one will be able to hear you no matter how loud you shout. Not even your witch friend will hear anything through my magic. He knows Delora is here. I glance around the room and notice that Sir Mithros has created his silent green barrier. This is the same magic he used yesterday. Now, let us get back to the matter at hand. You are running out of time, Prince Rod. It would be a shame to see you perish here after the princess went through the trouble of asking me to save your life. Melody, what is he talking about? The princess didn't want you to die, so she asked me to help you break your curse. Sir Mithros spreads his arms, gesturing towards both Melanie and Viorica. And so, I have been kind enough to set the stage and gather its actors for what I hope to be a wonderful finale. I can't help but wonder how this fairy tale will end. Why would you do this, Melody? I did not know it meant killing Viorica, I swear! That is why I came here, to stop you! I told you so many times that there was nothing you could do to help me, and yet you still refused to listen to me. Because I refuse to let you die. Can you not see that you are important to me, Rod? Oh my, what a scandal. Melody. I turned to Sir Mithros and stared daggers at him. I asked you to help, Rod. Why did you have to involve a Melanie in this? It was a necessary requirement that the princess be the one to give him the knife, your highness. It was, after all, the mermaid sister that brought her the knife to kill her beloved. So that's how she knew about all this. She came here crying and begging me to break my curse because she didn't want me to die. I almost wanted to do it. But I could never kill someone. That is why I will always refuse to break my curse, even if I really want to live. Perhaps I miscalculated. Oh well, this can be remedied. Sir Mithros waves his hand. His fingers begin to glow subtly with magic. What are you? Rod! A faint green glow surrounds Rod as he doubles over. What are you doing to him? What I should have done to begin with. The witch who cursed him said that he must do this of his own accord, but seeing as he refuses, I am going to have to bend the rules slightly. Rod stands up abruptly and begins walking toward Viorica. The knife in his hand glistens beneath the patches of scattered moonlight in the room. Princess, he's going to kill Viorica! Stop this, Sir Mithros! Where is Delora when we need her? I run towards Rod and wrap my arms around his waist in an attempt to stop him, but whether through magic or his own strength, he continues onward. I end up being dragged behind him. Rod, snap out of it! Rod! I must kill her. His gaze is so glassy and his words so mechanical that he sounds nothing like himself. No! Mithros, stop this! I am ending our deal. My apologies, your highness, but not even I can dispel my magic once it has been casted. It will only fade of its own volition once what needs to be done has transpired. That, or perhaps in the most unlikely circumstances, the prince will simply shake the spell himself. Though Mithros's words are apologetic, his expression is anything but. In fact, he looks amused by it all. Not so fast! A crimson ball of light rushes towards Mithros. He waves his hand through the air and is barely able to conjure a shield to protect himself from Delora's magic. Delora! It wasn't exactly easy to find you all, especially with the silencing spell. Such a nuisance. That is not important. Help me stop Rod! Frost slowly appears beneath Rod's feet. It spreads up his legs, freezing him in place. I sigh with relief as I collapse onto the floor. My arms are sore with the effort of trying to hold Rod back. Mithros clicks his tongue as he faces Delora. I don't believe you were invited to this party, traitor. Light gathers around Mithros's hand. Moments later, he releases the energy towards her. Delora, in turn, conjures a barrier, successfully protecting herself from Mithros's magic. I always did fancy myself a party crasher. Still, to think that you were alive this whole time. Myth. Myth? His real name. He is one of the Tenebrarum's bearer's servants. This person was my mother's servant? Allow me to correct you. I am her only faithful servant. I am nothing like that ungrateful bastard who betrayed her to the fairies. Who is he talking about? Well, whatever it is you're planning, forget about it. There's no way we're letting you get away with it. Oh, well, do try your best. But first, a reminder. I am the superior witch here. Energy crackles in the air as sparks begin to form around his hand. The spell is taking longer than his other spells. I notice Delora's worry moments before she is able to cast a shield on herself. This is not good. Mithros releases the bolts of lightning in Delora's direction. The impact causes both the shield and the ground to shudder. Delora! The smoke clears and miraculously, Delora stands unharmed. No sooner has a sigh of relief escaped my lips than another frightening sound echoes across the room. Oh gosh. There is a loud crack and I realize that it is coming from Delora's shield. Everything after that happens in a blur. Delora is still trying to hold the shield up when Mithros casts another spell at it. It shatters and the magic seeps through and hits her directly. Delora! Really now, have you forgotten the most important lesson in defense magic? Always conjure another shield after being hit by a powerful spell. Or, oh, I do apologize. Perhaps I did not give you enough time to cast another shield. How thoughtless of me. Delora lays on the floor, unmoving. Delora! I am about to rush to her side when Mithros moves to stand in front of me with a malicious grin on his face. It will do you no good to be in denial, princess. How could you? How could you hurt another witch? It is not a crime to destroy a traitor. He looks back at Delora with clear disdain. Then he sets his eyes back on me and raises his eyebrows. It is foolish of you to try to stop this. You wanted this, and I will not allow you to renege our deal, or on our deal. The prince will break his curse, and you will help me. Help you? Yes, I went to great pains to make sure Alcaster kept you safe, just so you could repay me. You said that you made a deal with Alcaster to borrow the knight's assistance. And what would I need the knight's assistance for, dear princess? I never needed the knight's. I just needed Alcaster to keep you safe. I would have gotten rid of him myself if I wasn't sure the king would eventually find me. So this whole time you were only trying to keep me safe. To use me? Use is such a simple, ugly word. Remember, I wanted you to help me. Princess! I turn around and realize that Dolores' spell on Rod has faded, and that he is now only a few feet away from Viorica. Rod! I force myself to run towards him as fast as I can manage. I will not let you kill anyone! I do not know what I must do to stop him, so I do the first thing that comes to mind. I put myself between Rod and Viorica just as he is about to plunge the knife into her. Princess! My body is racked with pain the moment the blade sinks into my shoulder. I collapse to the floor and hold on to my injured shoulder. I could feel my blood seeping between my fingers. You fool! You could have been easily killed. I do not care! I love Rod and would never let him do something that he would regret for the rest of his life. I cringe. Tears cloud my vision as the pain worsens. Melody! I feel Rod's arms around me as he cradles me to his chest. I look up at him to see that his eyes are fixed on my bleeding shoulder. Rod looks at me with anguish. He grabs a handkerchief from his pocket and presses it to my shoulder. I can't believe I did this. I stare in shock as his lips move. It's not Sebi speaking, but him. Your voice! You broke your curse! But how? A bright light envelops us, and for a few moments I have to close my eyes against its brightness. I reach out to grab at my necklace, but it is gone. I open my eyes in panic, but the necklace is definitely not there. Melody, the glass slippers. I glance down to see a pair of smooth glass slippers on my feet. You broke your curse by breaking mine. I hear the sound of shattering glass and turn to see Mithros staring at a broken vial. What is that? Frost has begun to form at his feet and is now spreading up his legs. What is happening? Always have a backup, as they say. Seems like you're the one who forgot the basics of combat. Never turn your back on an opponent unless you're sure that they're dead. Your bloated ego does wonders in turning the tide of battle. Delora is now back on her feet and walking towards Mithros. She dusts off her dress as she moves. Delora is unharmed? But how? Did you really think I'd forget to conjure another shield? The frost has now made its way up to Mithros' neck. Inconceivable! A lowly witch like you could never cast this powerful a spell. Delora gestures at the glass shards on the floor. That's where Parfait's new special potion comes handy. It makes my magic more powerful. The second most basic lesson is to never underestimate your opponent. Looks like you were the terrible pupil. Mithros opens his mouth to speak, or perhaps to scream, but by the time he opens his mouth, the frost has completely devoured him, leaving him nothing but an icy sculpture. Delora, Melody is... Has her bleeding stopped? I think so. I cannot make out what they say after that. My world starts spinning and everything starts to blur, so I close my eyes. I feel Delora's hand on my forehead. The warmth relaxes me somewhat. We got you, princess. Hang in there, Melody. My body becomes heavier by the second as I lean my head against Rod's chest, and then I feel myself falling into never-ending darkness. When I open my eyes, the first thing I see are the soft rays of sunlight seeping through the window. I am in my own room. I attempt to sit up and cringe when I feel a sharp pain in my shoulder. I reach out to touch it only to realize that it has been neatly bandaged. Despite my injury, my body feels oddly light, stronger than it even was before. I remember. I placed myself in front of Viorica to stop Rod from hurting her. But where did this energy come from? The door opens and a Melanie walks in with a tray of food in her hands. She stops when she realizes that I am staring at her and nearly drops the tray in her rush to stand beside me. Melody, you're finally awake. I was so worried about you. I'm so sorry. This was all my fault. What are you talking about? It was mine, not yours. I remember bringing the knife to Rod, but I can't remember much of what happened before or after that. Just that when I woke up in the throne room, I saw that you were bleeding in Rod's arms. I thought you were going to... The rest of Melanie's words break to pieces as she begins to cry. Oh no! I'm so sorry for forgetting about you. I made you work too hard while you were my personal maid, and... I shake my head with a sigh. It was not your fault. I was cursed, Melanie. But I look at her tear-stained face. She was not at fault, yet here she is crying. She really is a good person. I spread my arms. Melody? I turn away, suddenly embarrassed. You looked like you needed a hug. Melanie stares at me for a few moments. I am about to reconsider when I suddenly feel her arms around me. I'm so happy. I hug her back and stroke her hair. I cannot help but smile at the warmth that spreads in my chest. Thank you. Melanie pulls back, her face full of concern. What will happen to you and Rod now? I saw how close the two of you got, and I saw how Rod looked at you last night. Wait, last night? So today is my birthday, and the day I became the bearer. Is that the reason I feel so strangely energized? Oh! Melanie walks up to one of my doll shelves and picks up the doll she had placed there months ago. Happy birthday! I meant to give this to you earlier as a surprise before you were cursed. Anyway, I know it's not as pretty as the other dolls from your collection, but I hope that you like it. It is beautiful. Thank you. I take the doll in my arms as a knock sounds on the door. Come in. The door opens and Rod steps inside. His eyes widen when he sees a Melanie. Em? Oh, I was just about to leave. Melanie slides off of my bed and heads for the door, but before she closes it, she turns to us once again. I know how complicated this will be for the both of you, but I want you to know that I will support you. So my lips are sealed. Melanie winks before finally closing the door behind her. There is an awkward silence in the room before Rod approaches me and sits on the edge of the bed. How are you feeling? It still hurts, but I will be fine. What's wrong? I am just not used to hearing your voice from your own lips. Oh, but I see that you still have Sebi with you. I've grown too fond of him to completely set him aside. He's helped me through a lot. Bummer, I can't read his thoughts anymore. There was never any need for you to do that in the first place. Is that so? Rod shakes his head and sighs silently. So, what happened last night? How is it that you were able to break your curse? You did not kill Viorica. In the original fairy tale, the Little Mermaid could retain her humanity only if the prince loved her back. Though it never happens in the fairy tale, it is still an element of her curse. But still, because the prince never fell in love with her, the only way for the mermaid to live was to kill him. I fell in love with you unknowingly. When you told me you loved me as well last night, that broke my curse. I feel my cheeks turn warm. Rod coughs, his own cheeks flushed. So there you have it. The Little Mermaid never had a fairy tale ending, but I did. I never had to kill Viorica. But because my curse started with Viorica, I assumed it had to end with her too. It turns out that the person I loved just needed to love me back. I was mistaken. It never needed to be Viorica. I see. We stare at each other for a few moments, the awkward silence returning. I change the subject as quickly as I can. What became of Sir Mithros? Delora brought him back to Lady Parfait. She is the one who will properly punish him. And what of Viorica? Delora returned her home yesterday. She does not remember anything that happened. Everything is back to how it was then. You are back to being my stepbrother. I cannot help but feel crestfallen at this truth. Blood binds, but so do sibling bonds. Rod and I can never have what either of us want. I don't want to forget these feelings I have for you, Melody. If I had never made that deal with the witch, then maybe we might have actually been able to be together. But had you not been cursed, our paths would not have crossed. I reach for Rod's hand. He laces his fingers through mine with a small smile. I love you, Rod. I love you too. But Rod leans forward and kisses my cheek. I know. 1 month later. Ever since I broke my curse and became the new Tenebrarum bearer, I have been training under Parfait and Dolores so that I can learn to control my newfound powers. I never wanted this responsibility, but it is a burden I was born into. It is necessary I help maintain the balance between light and dark that has been missing for so long. Now that I am the new Tenebrarum bearer, Parfait wants the two of us to work together in maintaining that peace. I do not wish to cause any pain or suffering to the people, especially to the people whom I cherish. Sometimes I still wonder what Sir Mithros wanted me to do for him, but that is not important anymore. I still have much to learn right now. As the new bearer, my priority is to get rid of the fairy tale curse once and for all. For the time being, everyone at the Marchen waits patiently for the day that I will learn to lift their curses. Since everything transpired, my relationship with Ophelia and Melanie has improved. And Melanie is fond of calling me the best sister, even though I am the only one she has. My relationship with the king, however, has yet to be mended. I am doing my best to open up to him and give him a chance, but the efforts are slow going. I do not ask why he acted the way he did in the past, but I know that in order to move forward, I must let go of the past. It is finally time. I have been waiting for this all day. I head back into my room to change my dress into something less conspicuous. Afterwards, I head out into town and into the forest for my designated meeting. Oh no, she's meeting up with Rod. It is a relief the king allows me to leave the palace on my own. I would not have been able to come here with the guards. I guess me being the Tenebrarum bearer puts him at ease. If the title reassures him and allows me to come out here on my own to meet Rod, then I am not complaining. Rod still uses the secret passage he has always used to sneak out of the palace, and Melanie knows about our secret meetings and helps cover for our disappearances if necessary. It makes me happy that Melanie approves of our relationship, that we do not have to keep it secret from absolutely everyone. At first, Rod and I both attempt to keep our distance without making it seem too obvious to everyone around us. Though Ophelia seems to suspect something is going on between the two of us, she has not asked questions. And Melanie was not happy about our decision. She said she felt terrible that we would be forced to let go of something so precious on account of our titles. She was right. More than that, it was difficult for the two of us to deny our feelings for each other. In the end, we came up with a solution, even if it is temporary. We decided to secretly meet up in the forest every once in a while so that we could be together without any pretenses. Even just for a little while. When I catch sight of Rod, I run toward him and throw my arms around his neck. I feel Rod snuggle his face into the crook of my neck. May I have this dance? I take Rod's hand and began dancing to a silent song. The first time I danced with him, it was to prove a point. It was when neither of us even liked each other. I remember this as I stare at him. What, is there something on my face? I was just remembering how much you hated me back then, and now here we are. Fate sure loves to toy with us. I smile at Rod. Just for a little longer. I want to be by his side. I do not know how long we can keep this up, but every day I wish for the same thing. I wish that I can live my life openly loving Rod. I wonder, would that dream ever be possible? No. No, it won't. That is so gross. Ugh. That was so gross. Like, the story was awesome. But no. They're siblings. I don't care if they're, like, not related through blood. They're still siblings, and that is disgusting. Ugh. I'm sorry if you guys disagree with me, but no. I'm gonna stand firm on this. I'm putting my foot down right here. And I am telling you that that is so freaking gross. Ugh. This one was the hardest one to go through because of that. I don't even know what to think right now. I'm pretty sure I know what's gonna happen in the bad ending, because I will be doing that, guys. Just like I did with the other two that I've done. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know what's gonna happen. But we are just gonna have to see that for sure, I guess. I mean, I even liked Rumple's route better than this one. Cause at least they weren't freaking related. Even though Rumple was a player, at least they weren't related. Alright, well, it seems like it's almost over, so I will wait. I don't think there's gonna be anything after the credits, but you never know. So thank you for playing Cinderella Phenomenon. You're welcome. Alright. So, that is it for this episode, guys. That was Rod's ending. Well, good ending. So, if you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up down below. And if you haven't already, subscribe. By subscribing, you're becoming part of a legacy. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!